Oprah has been the beacon of light for millions and a catalyst to help transform lives for thousands. However, for me, she was a symbol of confusion for as many as 4 years until she spoke to me recently. In this episode, I take you on an intriguing journey of the Oprah symbology that started on July 6, 2016 in a classroom at Columbia University and recently unfolded into a new chapter that led me to my life's purpose. The acronym Oprah, hopefully, which is my inspiration, will also be your inspiration and lead you to your life's purpose. Join me on this very interesting journey. The simple act of asking, "What is my purpose?" on the internet has the power to elicit nearly 1 billion responses. That's a staggering commentary on the way so many people feel about who they are and how much they long for an existence that matters. On the surface, typing those 4 little words, "What is my purpose?" and pressing enter may seem trivial, but it's really a profound reflection of an intimate prayer rising from the deepest part of the heart. It's asking to be acknowledged. Initiating that search is a sign that the journey toward an elevated life filled with meaning and character is ready to begin. And here is the great news. Beyond the labyrinth of digital links, there is really just one being who holds the key to unlock the answers to all that you were meant to become. That miraculous soul has been speaking your entire life. Of course, I'm talking about you. I believe every one of us is born with a purpose. No matter who you are, what you do, or how far you think you have to go, you've been tapped by a force greater than yourself to step into your God-given calling. This goes far beyond what you do to earn your living. I'm talking about a supreme moment of destiny. The reason you're here on earth. Each one of us has an essential role in the whole of humanity. All you have to do is follow your path to answer the call. In the words of the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. This is a part of the introduction that I just read from Oprah Winfrey's The Path Made Clear, Discovering Your Life's Direction and Purpose. Today's talk is beyond the passage in this book. This is a story of confusion because Oprah came in my symbology exercise at Columbia University on July 6th, 2016. Frankly, as I walk you through what that exercise is, you'll realize that when symbols occur, they typically have a meaning for you. But for the life of me, I couldn't understand why Oprah appeared in not one, but 2 instances in this exercise in symbology. Now, it's important for me to paint the state of my mind and this particular room where we were in. I had been going through some tumultuous time in my marriage, and there was an incredible amount of cocktails of emotions that I was going through, from confusion, shame, guilt, fear, uncertainty, anxiety, all kinds of things mixed in. So this was a moment of incredible amount of confusion, and I was looking for clarity. And I thought I would go take this class, and hopefully Carl Jung will offer me some symbols. And sure enough, he did. So here I am with a very confused, dark state of mind, not knowing what my path ahead means, where it lies, which is the fork of the road I'm going to take, how is this all going to pan out? All of those questions are going through my mind. And I'm in this room that was just as dark, this very large classroom, and on the floor are strewn pieces of magazine clippings and newspapers, all with pictures and articles on them. And we received the instruction from our professor that we're supposed to walk in the middle of this room with chairs all around. We were seated in a circle, and then we were supposed to step into the middle and walk around the room And wherever our energy stopped us, without looking down, you pick up that picture and you keep it. You connect with it for a moment and you feel the energy, and if it speaks to you, you pick it. But you're not supposed to interpret what it means. You're not supposed to go in with a preconceived notion of what it is that you're trying to get to, because then you have what's called confirmation bias. You essentially produce what you intended to produce in the beginning. So this is an energy exercise with symbology. So I pick up a whole bunch of clippings, and then we were asked to go to a desk and arrange them. And what came out is this amazing collage of my life from the beginning of my birth in India, when I grew up there, to the present state, and what my soul was asking. And here's this image that you'll see on the screen, and I'm going to walk you through each part of that image. So the first part of this image that you see is this rickshaw, and you see these two people sitting there. Now, even though both are females, I remember using the rickshaw in India when I would go to my grandma's house to go to the bazaar for shopping with my sister and my mom. And the house next to it, which is in ruins, was kind of how our life was. And through this dilapidated room, there's that door through which there's light coming out and there's nature behind it. That represented my escape from that life. And I didn't know this then, that when I would leave India after my father's passing when I was 23, under very, very difficult circumstances, he, unfortunately, due to the stresses of life, committed suicide. And my life became nothing but white water. Change, confusion, a lot of movement, and a lot of lack of clarity. And I felt I was drowning in water and I needed air, but I couldn't come up for air. And as this image continues down, I entered into a further darker period of my life where you see this rhino reflecting its shadow. Now, shadow by Carl Jung has been called our dark side. He in fact calls it our evil side, our immoral side. And for sure, there were acts in my life that I engaged in that I'm not proud of. In fact, the personas that I wore, the masks that I wore, were all during this period, the dark side. The hands next to it represent my soul, my spirit, my inner self, my inner child, asking for help, screaming for help, asking the question, what's on my mind? I wanted to escape. And as this journey continued, here come the images of Buddha and Oprah. In place of Oprah, it could have been Mahatma Gandhi, it could have been Nelson Mandela, it could have been Tom Cruise for all that matters, or some actress that I have a crush on. But Oprah with a microphone, and Buddha sitting silently with a message on the right, let it go. What did I have to let go? A lot. A lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of darkness, the memory of my father's suicide, the memory of my personal sexual abuse. There was a lot to let go. And if you read the book, The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk, you'll understand that all of those things live at the cellular level. The trauma lives at the cellular level. How do you let it go? And what was shocking was that she appeared again next to someone doing the rumba or whatever that dance is, the flamenco, I guess, out in Spain. And she's standing with her two hands raised up with the words, "What I know for sure." That's one thing I didn't know. I didn't know anything for sure. And here she is telling me what I know for sure. And now, to make some submission, I had watched Oprah's show only once, when my roommate walked in and said, "What, are you a woman watching Oprah?" So since then, I maybe watched it one more time. But I knew this much, that she had gone through extreme adversity to rise up to this level of fame. And she had been a self-made woman, but I didn't know what she was trying to tell me. There were these children on the left of her, which to me meant be childlike. I had read a lot of philosophy and I had been doing a lot of introspection, so I understood that. And then the final image below it is Armstrong, looking up in the sky towards the stars, like he was reaching for the stars again, like I wanted to. And I wasn't even sure what he was looking at. I knew there was something bigger out there that I needed to be a part of. So I'll read you a quote from Mikhail Naimi's amazing book called The Book of Mirdad that talks about the rhino with his shadow. And it connected with me because I had just finished reading that book at that time. This is a story of several people on a journey in a ship, and Mirdad, who is apparently God's send, is now talking to these people and giving them these messages. So Mikoyan, who's one of these passengers on this ship, says, "Speak not to us in riddles. Too feeble yet is our understanding." To which Mirdad says, "All is a riddle to the man who trails a shadow. For that man walks in borrowed light. Therefore he stumbles on his shadow. When you become ablaze with understanding, then shall you cast no shadows anymore." This was a wake-up call for me, that I was trailing my own shadow. And perhaps this is where Oprah and Buddha were trying to give me a message. Buddha came first before Oprah did. I started reading books from Thich Nhat Hanh, from His Holiness Dalai Lama, and all the other things I could find on Buddhism. And it spoke to me in words. And it started a journey where I left organized religion to really start to see life through my own eyes. I read Rabindranath Tagore's poems, which were all prayers, but prayers through his experiences, not by reading scriptures. At that time, everything was shifting for me. So when it comes to Oprah, what I know for sure, to borrow her words, is that she definitely was giving me a message, because I idolized her in many, many ways. You know, she, as I understood from reading her book that I received really only last week, that she went through a tremendous amount of agony and pain. As she talks in her book, she was abused sexually from the age of 10 to 14. I went through my own sexual abuse around 11 or 12. Every pain is different, every abuse is different, but it leaves the same marks on your soul. But the uplifting part is that at about the same age, 16, we both did our first radio show. She accidentally was asked to record her voice. I was accidentally asked to record my voice when I was at the radio station at All India Radio, taking a celebrity for recording, and the person who was doing the recording said to me, "You know, you have a really good voice. Do you want to hear it?" Kind of eerily similar to how Oprah recounts her experience. So I did, and my first radio show was aired when I was 16 or 17. And I remember our family sitting around this old radio and listening to it, and me being so incredibly proud to listen to my own voice. Public speaking was my love. I was 11 or 12 when I got on the stage, full of fear. But when I won the second prize among 60 students, I knew that that was my calling. From that day on, I became the spokesperson for the school. I was in every poem recitation, all dramatics. Anytime there was an opportunity to go on stage, I was there. I didn't fit into anything else because we came from a fairly poor family and went to fairly rich schools. My parents never sacrificed education, but I didn't have the money to take my girlfriend for a Coke and a snack in the canteen like my friends did. So I always stood outside watching them do this, and there was this incredible amount of inferiority complex that somehow I was not good enough. But when I was on stage, man, I was in my element. You couldn't touch me. No one could touch me. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because that was my pride. That's what gave me the life I have today. In fact, my entire career today is credited to public speaking. It was like Osho saying, when you dance, don't just dance, become the dance. And that's how I felt on stage. So there was definitely a message that Oprah had in the symbology for me. The idolization I had of her was for the wrong reasons. I wanted to be famous like her. I wanted to be rich like her. That was not related to my purpose. It was related to my shortcomings and filling that hole that I felt in me, that I wasn't good enough, that I needed to be validated, that I needed more acceptance, that I needed more money that should something go wrong, that I wouldn't be like my father, where he really tried hard to support the family, but he couldn't. And now as a father, I know what that must have felt like. So following somebody for the wrong reasons clearly is not your purpose. And it took 4 years, up until 2 weeks ago, when I realized what Oprah was trying to tell me. And in these 4 years, I had started working with orphans and abused children in Costa Rica. We created a program to bring them in their own element based on my experience with the stage. And it was a highly successful program. So I decided, how do I now turn this into a financially sustainable social enterprise? And the first attempt was to buy a piece of land in Costa Rica and build a center for transformative sciences and healing. So I could bring people there and take the revenue and the profits and use that money to support the work I was doing with orphans and abused kids and with women. Well, that didn't really work out for a variety of reasons. And I thought, okay, let's move into the direction of hosting these journeys in a variety of exotic locations around the globe. And guess what? COVID-19 happened. So those plans had to be shelved. And I was so confused, and this is barely 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I literally raised my hands to the universe and I said, help me. What do I do? So I went for a walk on the beach, and it's sunset time, and I'm sitting in front of the sun, and I'm praying. And I'm highly emotional because I don't know where this enterprise, Karuna, is going to go. Karuna means the desire to remove suffering, and it had become my purpose. I knew it was my purpose to heal children. It was a message I received from my father in a meditation. That's another story. And I'm walking around, and then I hear this voice. You are not utilizing your talents. You are forgetting what brings you in your element. And that is public speaking. Standing in front of a camera, talking from my heart, is what I was meant to do. And I believe that's what Oprah was trying to tell me. And it became clear when I read this passage in her book. So this is August 14th, 1978, as Oprah writes. It wasn't until I was unceremoniously demoted to co-host of People Are Talking that I experienced the first spark of what it means to become fully alive. During the show, I interviewed Tom Carvel, the Carvel ice cream man, and the actor who played Benny on All My Children. Not exactly glamorous, but as we talked, I felt lit up from the inside, like I had come home to myself. When the hour ended, there was a sense of knowing resonating within my heart and radiating to the hairs on the back of my neck. My entire body told me this was what I was supposed to do. As a reporter, I'd been exhausted all the time. I really had to drag myself into work. But after one day on this local talk show, I was energized in a way that fueled every cell of my being. There was no doubt that the seeds of what was to give my life meaning and purpose had been planted. That day, my job ended and my calling began. I become emotional every time I read this paragraph because this is essentially how I felt. When I did my first YouTube recording with these two gentlemen who were sitting in front of me, I felt like I had come home. And that's when I knew what Oprah was trying to tell me. You've got to go home. And this is where I feel I am right now. So to express my gratitude to Oprah, and forgive me, Oprah, if you ever watch this show, for using your name as an acronym. This is my inspiration from your name as I thought about your name. So the 5 action steps that I always do in these episodes are designed around the name Oprah. First is openness. Be open. Listen from your heart. Open up your heart and listen to what the universe is trying to tell you. The best way to do that is to read her book, The Path Made Clear. And what I know for sure, read the book. The P is prepare. Prepare to receive the message. When you open your heart and you ask the universe for help, the message comes, but you have to be ready for it. Just like if you plant a seed in the earth, it's not going to sprout until the earth has been prepared for it. Watered, fertilized, moist, the seed has to be ready for it. Both the earth and the seed coming together brings out this immense opportunity. So preparation, in your own way. We're not going to talk about how to prepare, because each one of you will need to find that in your heart. The R is to receive. When you prepare, you're going to receive the message. Like Oprah says, there is no such thing as luck. Preparation, when it meets opportunity, is when you get lucky. My mentor used to tell me, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Same concept. So you prepare, but then you get ready to receive. Now the receiving part is incredibly important. There is an exercise we did at the Ojai Foundation in an indigenous way, where they sat us in a circle, and the way the indigenous people used to solve problems was to put the problem in the center of the circle and then tell stories. And the instruction was not to listen to the stories with your ears, but to listen with your heart. And the instruction was not to tell the story with your mouth, but to tell it from your heart. So receiving is an incredibly important part of the journey. More important than receiving is the interpretation. Words are nothing but empty vessels. It's only when you give them meaning, when you interpret what they mean, is when they become yours. I could say to you a word that means something totally different to me than to you. In fact, these types of interpretations are filled in dictionaries, and all kinds of words mean a noun, mean a verb sometimes, and they can be used in a variety of ways. So your interpretation, which is unique to you, is incredibly important. Receiving that message and interpreting it in your unique way is the next step. The A in Oprah's name is act. You can prepare, you can receive, but if you don't do anything with it, what good is that, right? Action and moving forward is incredibly important. And you could take some lessons from Buddhism in that. There is the Noble Eightfold Path that Buddha laid out. And one of these Eightfold Path is right action. Right action is doing the right thing, and you can read all about it. And I know something in that will speak to you. So doing the right thing, but acting on what you've received, is what's important to move forward in your purpose. You know, my father used to say about acting or action is that standing water does only one thing. It stinks. You got to move forward, right? The monkey bars that C.S. Lewis talks about, we discussed this in another episode on how to move forward beyond fear and grief. It's at some point in time, you got to let go to move forward. And finally, the H, and that is to stay humble, humility. Incredibly essential, at least has been in my life. And I know all of the enlightened souls that talk about achieving your purpose and getting there. I know Oprah is an incredibly humble person, tries to help anybody that she can help. As much as she is a big power, she spreads her goodness. And it's not just Oprah. There are many, many, many other people who stay humble despite the fame and wealth that they get and continue to do the work that they need to do. Matthew Ricard, the Buddhist monk who lives in Paris, an accomplished individual in many ways, far more than one, not only stays humble, but follows his purpose, building schools, helping children. You can take examples after examples. There's many people like that who not only have achieved the fame and the wealth that we all dream of, but who stay humble throughout the process. And in the process, they are following their own purpose. So as final thanks to Oprah, I'm going to borrow from her wonderful words, What I Know For Sure, which actually came about as a question to her by the late Gene Siskel, the critic, the famous movie critic that who she was interviewing. And he asked her during the interview, so what do you know for sure? And that's how her journey began to answer that question. So here's what I know for sure. Life is not about excuses, it's about engagement. Life is not about complaining, it's about connection. Life is not about hatred, it's about humility. Life is not about jealousy, it's about joy and it's about justice. Life is not about grudges, it's about gratitude. Life is not about conquests, it's about compassion. And what I know for sure is from another passage in the book of the same title that I want to read to you to end this talk. So this is a passage in the book when Oprah got the chance to dance with Tina Turner on the stage. Then in an instant, it dawned on me, okay, girl, this is going to be over soon. And if I didn't loosen up, I would miss the fun. So I threw my head back, forgot about step, turn, kick, and just danced. Whee! She writes. Several months later, I received a package from my friend and mentor, Maya Angelou. She said she was sending me a gift she'd want any daughter of hers to have. When I ripped it open, I found a CD of a song by Lee Ann Womack that I can still hardly listen to without boo-hooing. The song, which is a testament to Maya's life, has this line as its refrain. When you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. Thank you, Oprah, for giving me this message. I was sitting it out, and I'm ready to dance. So as we end this session, as I do every single time, I want to leave you with a prompt, and I'm going to read it here from my iPad. Sometimes I have to resort to that. My brain doesn't work so well at this age. The music of life is playing my song. I'm ready to become the dance. What I know for sure is that Oprah, that's the acronym, will guide me in this journey. Oprah, open, prepare, receive, act, and stay humble. Thank you.
More than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you
Thank you for joining us today. Before you go, I'd like to tell you about two important things. First, a little bit about Karuna, and second, how you can be part of this journey with us. At Karuna, our mission is threefold. First, to support and empower youth and women who have suffered unspeakable abuse, neglect, abandonment, trafficking, and all of the traumas that life brings their way, unfortunately. Second, to support early childhood education in disadvantaged communities to help break the cycle of vicious poverty and abuse. And third, to fund well-being research through our esteemed scientific advisory board in areas that are disadvantaged. You can join us in one of 5 ways. They are listed on our website. So subscribe to this channel and subscribe to this website. You may volunteer with us, you can contribute, you can sponsor, you can be part of this journey to unleash compassion and make this world a happier place. Thank you.